Hi, hi, kindergarten friends. I have another book for you today, and it is called I Will Find a Way. I Will Find a Way, and it's written by Barbra, Linde, and illustrated by Juan Oliver. I will find a way. Before we get started, I want you to just take a look at this picture and just start thinking, I wonder what this book will be about. I'm going to give you a little hint. In this book, these children, they are going to have some kind of problem, and they're going to get stuck, and they're going to get stuck, and sometimes when we get stuck, we don't really know what to do, right? Sometimes we get stuck and we have to go ask for an adult's help or ask for someone what to do. So today, we're going to read about this book and think about sometimes when we get stuck, how can we get ourselves unstuck, even if there's no one to help us? Or how can we have an idea to get ourselves unstuck? I will find a way. It's free time, everyone, Mrs. Lopez called. Choose an activity to work on. Do you want to paint, Mark? Asked Dylan. Sure, I answered. Let's make paintings that go together. So their free time's kind of like our purposeful play, right? They have certain choices they get to do and then they go do it. I'm going to paint an enchanted forest, Dylan said. Strange animals can live there. I'll paint a big, scaly green dragon that lives in your forest, I said. Oh, that reminds me of our front cover. There's a dragon. Dylan opened the jar of green paint. Look at this, Mark, he said. Gross. Oh no, I said, it's all dried up. I guess we'll have to paint something else, said Dylan. Don't worry, I told Dylan. I think I have a way to make our idea work. I asked Mrs. Lopez for an empty jar. I put some yellow paint in the jar. I slowly poured some blue paint and I stirred them together. Oh, this reminds me of another book we read. Do you guys remember reading this book? Mixed, a colorful story. Yeah, this is reminding me about this book because we talked about sometimes when you mix together yellow and blue, you can get a whole new color. You can get, All right, let's see what happens. So they're mixing this together. They didn't have green. They needed green for their dragon and for their forest, but they didn't have any green. And so they didn't lay down and say, we don't have green and be sad. They went and they were problem solving. They went to their teacher and asked for an empty jar. They got some blue paint and some yellow paint and they're mixing it together. Let's see what happens. Problem solved, I called out. Then I showed Dylan my fresh jar of green paint. Look, Dylan's like, whoa, such a cool idea. This green color is even better than what we had, Dylan said. Just right for a forest and a dragon. Whoa. After our paintings were dry, I had an idea. Let's make the dragon pop out of the forest like a pop-up book. Yes, said Dylan. But do you know how? We'll find a way, I said. I cut out the dragon. Then we made an accordion out of a strip of paper. We taped one end to the dragon and one end to the forest. Boing, boing, the dragon jumped out of the forest. Whoa. What a clever idea, exclaimed Mrs. Lopez. You have been very resourceful today. Resourceful is kind of a big word for saying that they had a problem and they solved it. They could find other materials around them to figure out what they needed to do. Wow, so when we were reading this book, they were so good at solving their own problems. Over on this page, they were sad because they didn't have any green paint. But then they went and got a jar, mixed together some yellow and blue paint, and they made their own green paint so that they could keep working even though they had a problem they were stuck at for a minute. And then they wanted to make it a pop-up book, but they didn't know how. But did they give up? No, they didn't. They cut, and they folded, and they made their pop-up dragon just like they wanted. So in this book, we just saw so much. They had problems, and they did not get stuck. They thought about a solution. They asked for an extra jar, and they solved their own problem. That is so cool. Let's think about real life now. What is this child doing? And how is she being resourceful? Whisper to a partner. I'm going to whisper to Mabel. You whisper to a partner. What is this child doing, and how is she being resourceful? Okay, do you guys know? Here's what me and Mabel think. We think that she's being resourceful because she's coloring, and she's making things, and she's making herself friends. And she's making things to keep her company. And she is using different supplies. It looks like maybe this was a toilet paper roll or a paper towel roll, and she cut it up and she made it into an animal. And that's pretty resourceful. That is so cool. She used different supplies and she made something out of it. All right, now I want you to think. When have you thought of a creative way to do something or to solve a problem? When was there a time when maybe you got stuck and then you solved a problem on your own and you figured out what to do? You whisper to your stuffy or your family, and I'll whisper to Mabel. Okay, I'm ready to tell you Mabel's. Mabel says there was one time when she was in art class with Mrs. T, and she was supposed to have a piece of paper, but she didn't have one because she didn't know ahead of time, like she just forgot, and so she didn't have a paper ready. And then Mrs. T said, okay, get your papers out. And then Mabel, she could have went, Mom, Dad, brother, sister, and called someone and didn't know what to do. But she didn't do that. She got up real quick and she went and got a piece of paper because she knew where they kept it in her house, and she brought it back, and then she was ready for art class. Whoa, Mabel was resourceful. She had a problem because she didn't have paper, and then she just went and solved her own problem. That is so cool. I hope that today, while you are working, whether you are doing writer's workshop, doing reader's workshop, all throughout the day and all throughout tomorrow and all throughout the next day, on and on for the rest of your life, I want you to try to be resourceful. So when you get to a problem that's kind of hard, I want you, don't give up. I want you to go and try to think of a way to solve your problem and then do it. So today, your whole goal is to think, when you get to a problem, think, how can I solve this problem? And then go do it on your own. Sometimes maybe you could ask for an adult to help, but the real goal here is that you are thinking of a solution on your own. If you get to a problem, you think of a solution and then figure out a way to solve it. Just like this book says, I will find a way. I want you to find a way.